episode of the J Squared podcast. Jesse, Kass, and Jayson Williams back here with you. And Jay, we're back on the acting realm. Well, it's basketball and acting. Nican Robinson, he's got basketball ties, he's got acting ties, and we're really excited for this one here today.
He's up and coming star too. I'm so excited to get to know him today. I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, here he is, Nican Robinson on the J Squared podcast. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, we're now joined by our guest here on the J Squared podcast. It is the very talented and amazing Nican Robinson. Nican, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. You know I wouldn't miss this. Hang with you fellas in the morning time. You know I'm not going to miss this.
and we finally got an actor/athlete because, look, Nican, thanks for coming on because we just get actors who want to be athletes. Then we get athletes who want to be actors like myself. Now we got a legit baller actor in the house, you know what I'm saying? Not nobody playing on the weekends. You got it done on the highest level of collegiate sports, my brother.
hey, man, no weekend warriors here. Listen, I dip back and forth between my acting chops and my basketball chops. Yeah, you got at least one.
Yeah.
You got at least one.
Yeah, for those that don't know out there, Nican played at both the University of Cal and at UCLA. So as Jay said, the highest level there, maybe one of the three greatest college basketball programs ever. So,
but yeah, I try.
And Jay, you might not also know, Nican and I used to co-host a show together back in the day before COVID, and we would talk about basketball all the time. So I feel like we're just going to get right back into the old groove of things.
Well, you've been going the wrong way. You got a star right there. You're going downhill quick, Jesse.
well, we're all together right now, so that's a matter.
You're supposed to be going this way. You're going the wrong way, brother.
Hey, you bring me on. I help to lift it up. I got you, brother.
So Nican, yeah, obviously mentioned athlete and of course actor. Now you've been in continued, as Jay said, to keep rising and rising. I know you've got a lot of roles coming up. You've been in a number of things, 13 Reasons Why, you were in Thunder Road, a ton of movies there, the credits are piling up. So just from the start, what led to the interest in acting after you were playing basketball, and then, just how that kind of developed for you?
So I'm gonna, it's not what you think it's salsa dance. So crazy story. I was playing, during one of the summers that I was playing at UC Berkeley. I had all the stuff going on. We're doing 2 a days. We got scrimmages in the evening, and I was just bored. And I remembered back to a time that my sister took the whole family salsa dancing. It was so much fun. I did that years ago, and it just kind of who I used to dance publicly with, Maya Garcia. She brought me on to work on this salsa musical. And, she was like, your style completely complements what we're doing in the show. She didn't actually tell me that I had to be a part of the show. So she was just like, come on and just meet all the directors and everybody. I'm like, sure, whatever. I get to the place to meet the directors and everybody's doing splits and touching the toes in the air. And I'm like, this is not a meeting of the director. What are we doing? What are we doing here? I ended up doing that, and it was my first show. I fell in love, and from there it just continued. I continued to try to progress and look for more roles and so on and so forth. And I kind of used my basketball mentality to bring that over to acting. So it's kind of this whole meld that's really synonymous with basketball. There's really no difference. We're learning lines, which means you're learning plays. You learn how to adjust on the fly, which means, you're working with people who learn how to adjust on the fly. We're creative. We work in teams. I mean, we wear uniforms, AKA wardrobe. It's the same thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it was an easy transition for you from one to the next.
Have you got a chance, Nican, to try to play an athlete and play a basketball player while you're acting? Because, I watch all these old movies, Blue Chip, all this stuff, and you could tell they lowered the basket, right? The consulting is wrong. That's not the way they run a pick and roll. That shot is not happening. And just say, hey guys, look, I'm a real baller. Let me show you how this goes. And you don't have to make the basket 9 foot. I
when he
had a
should.
movie. You're not gonna believe this. I had, and they'll deny it, but Just Cause. I forgot the Queen Latifah made a movie with Common, and Common played me. And, and he was in a net uniform and everything else. They say, "Oh, that wasn't about you," but it was about me. Here I am, a 6'10" center. Common's a great actor, one of the greatest, but he's playing me. And you can tell, he's a great actor, but he ain't no baller.
I was gonna say,
listen,
I don't think he's close to 6'10" either. So.
and the thing is, I used to watch you on TV, and I saw that movie, and I was like, that's not that ain't Jay. That ain't it. I've got a chance to use basketball in projects for sure. Where I'm just, they're like, okay, so we're gonna wear a spoiler, but there's a film that's coming up where that no, you don't need to lower your. I'm gonna tell you what's harder. What's harder is actually being asked to be bad at basketball in the movie. So there's a movie coming out. There's a movie coming up where I made the decision. I was like, okay, this character is, this guy's coming home from work. He's got a lot of stress on his mind. He's a huge basketball fan, but we know, and not to say that basketball fans can't play, but there's some definite weekend warriors where you're like, yeah, you probably should be on the court.
Right.
And so I had to practice. I decided to practice before I went on set, changing my jump shot to miss. That's the hardest thing ever. I was slinging it from back here. I had the old 50s dribble. I was really bad, and I was hooping in dress shoes. So it was harder to than when you could play, convincing someone that you can't. I'm trying to break every single shot, just shooting sky hooks from the 3-point line. Those are going in, and I'm like, oh guys, I promise you, just give me a second. Yeah. I'll miss one of these.
You're doing the Sadrunas Ilgauskas form, and
the Jamal Wilkes, the Jamal Wilkes from the Lake.
Or maybe the Marcus Camby guy.
I'm talking. I was shooting all sorts of bad shots, and they just kept going in. I was like, just give me a few minutes, guys. I promise I'll miss one. I shot 90% from the field that day.
Maybe you need a new shooting form then. Maybe that shooting form works.
Yeah, I have it there before, and it's just what you were saying, Jay. It's like this thing where you're watching actors play. It's just like that ain't right.
It's like watching the old Rocky movies, right? Rocky, wham, wham, wham. They're gonna do 15 rounds. Like, who's consulting this?
Like that. I'm like, he ain't tired? Man, it's usually not us.
No.
It's usually not us at all.
No, Jay,
let me tell you
did you
a
play
funny
with?
Story.
Yeah.
I'm playing with the Nets, and we had the replacement referees come in, and we're playing a real game. They were on strike, and I had just had both my thumbs operated on that summer, and I really wasn't putting a lot of time. You know how practice goes. So after practice, they go, all right, you guys shoot 50 free throws and get out of here. Nobody shoots 50 free throws. They look at the manager and go, hey, man, put me down for 50. I'm gone, right? I'm in the locker room. So I had no confidence at the free throw line at all. So I get up there, and and everybody knows me being a jokester, being funny with these guys, having fun with the fans. So I get up and I shoot a free throw, and the thing never goes higher than 9 feet. It just goes on a line drive and hits the corner of the backboard. The corner of the backboard.
Oh my gosh!
Right where the little stick is, and that sticker is Jerry West. That's the NBA sticker. That's
the
Jerry
logo.
West.
You hit the God.
So
you hit the God right there.
Oh my God! And the whole audience was just quiet, and they were like. Then they started laughing. They were like, "Oh, Jay must have been joking." We got these, replacement referees. This can't be for real. Now, when they gave me the ball back, the ball was this big and the basket was this small. And I'm like, oh my God. Chris Child runs up on me behind my point guard and goes, damn, Jay. He goes, you gonna shoot the second one? He goes, that first one made Jerry West duck. So I hit Jerry West right on the They called me into the NBA office.
So hard. You hit
they called me to the NBA office and they go, Jayson, we got to sit down. And they come down and they got a file. I'm thinking I'm a good guy in the NBA. They come down and go, let's look at your file. Bam. And I'm like, good God, I did all this stuff wrong. And they start going through it, and they go, "Nah, that free throw you took yesterday." They go, they're looking at me like I'm shaving points. I'm like, bro, I'm a 55% free throw shooter for my career. They about to call the FBI on me.
Like it was bad. I mean, shoot, I'll tell you what. I'm pretty sure that shot right there is something that a lot of actors shoot when they're on set.
Yeah.
And have somebody get on a ladder and put it in. I'm telling you what happens. Like it's so within the past 2 years, when I'm looking and I'm like, nah, that's not. It pains me. It pains me because we're out here, actors who have played, actors who still play, even non-actors who play. You can pick us up. You can use it to really portray, legends. One of them being their father, Norm Nixon's son in the Lakers series.
Yeah.
And also Solomon Hughes, fellow Cal brethren. I'm like, yeah, these cats, they're no joke. They can play. So let's bring some more of them in because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Hey, Judge, I got a question for him.
Yeah.
What is the most realistic basketball movie you have ever seen in your life? Because, one of the ones I always go back to is Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes playing that 2-on-2 game because, even though they don't
White
go
man
down
can't
like
jump.
that, white man can't jump.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the 3-on-3 before Ice Cube, but it's 2-on-2. And damn well, if they won that kind of money, they weren't getting out of Oakland.
Not at all. Not at all. I'll tell you my favorite part from that movie is Marcus Johnson's part, where he's on the. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go to my trunk. I'm gonna come back up. I'm gonna shoot this woman up. It's funny because he was he's a UCLA Bruin. He's an all-time great UCLA, and I got a chance to interact with him, both him and his son Josiah Johnson. I got a chance to meet him later on in life, when I was in college, and I'm looking at him and I'm just like. All I could think about was that part. I'm just like, man, Mr. Johnson. All I could think about was the white man can't jump. Here you are now older, but every time I look at you, I'm just like, you're gonna go to your trunk, ain't you?
Yeah.
a great basketball player who got typecast now. Forget about your career. All I remember you about going to your trunk. I'm gonna shoot this mother ever up.
Go to your trunk.
It's like that's how you know he's a good actor.
I'm gonna shoot this.
It's like former NBA All-Star, but that's what you remember.
The hell with your career. I remember them 3 lines you had in that movie.
The hell with your career. 3 lines. I'm gonna go to my trunk. I'm gonna come back and shoot this. Oh,
that is a classic scene.
What's the best basketball movie? I'm gonna. Blue Chips. Blue Chips is one. From what I remember, Above the Rim. Okay, hold on. Actually, there's a couple. All right, so I got Above the Rim. Oh no, man. Love and Basketball was pretty great.
Love and Basketball is a good one. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw something out there, and I mean this very seriously, only because of who was in there. So the first Space Jam, listen, Michael Jordan's in there. It's cartoons, you know what I'm saying? Even though they're cartoons, like they got a lot of, even though it's like a fantastical film, and not a lot of that stuff is real. Jordan's in there. So
the whole, especially when you're kids and the whole Looney Tunes nostalgia thing. No, it's funny talking about
and also Sunset Park.
I was gonna say Sunset Park is a very underrated basketball movie. That's a great one. And it's funny, we're talking about basketball scenes. Like, I think a lot of people, and it is a great movie, but a lot of people talk about Hoosiers. But if you go back and watch the actual basketball scenes from Hoosiers, they recycle the same shots like 15 times. So it's like every time Jimmy Chitwood's pulling up for 3, it's just like the same cut from earlier in the movie. So it's like if you watch it back now, you're like, oh, I don't know if that holds up like it used to.
It's like It's like Jean-Claude Van Damme for sports, and I'm a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan.
Yeah.
But the thing about Jean-Claude Van Damme is that same roundhouse kick that they replay 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
That's what Hoosiers is like.
Yeah. I know.
If they do it 1 time fast, they do it 2 times slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hold on, Jean-Claude. Even in Street Fighter, like, come on, man. Come on, not for every single film. Come on, man.
You're like, wait a second, I recognize that kick. You're like,
I recognize. Yeah, from like a split second ago, and it's always 3 times. So that's what Hoosiers was like. Hoosiers, while it's heartfelt, not a great basketball film. It's not technically sound.
Yeah, when you look back at the basketball itself, that doesn't quite hold up. Jay, what about you? What are basketball movies?
Oh, that's a good question. I just can't stand. Well, what gets me? Not even the basketball movies, but the boxing. When you go to boxing, and we were talking about this earlier, when you get in there and you see Rocky, punching up and Carl Weathers punching down, and these guys like who's consulting this? Like, you can't throw that many punches, and these power punches all like, we supposed to go for this, and then they go from round to round and they start taking you there. Like, who's doing the consulting? Got to get somebody to go in and go, hey man, you got to throw a couple of jabs. You got to throw your
three's gonna be pretty good.
You just can't. Everything can't connect, and you still be going on and through the whole fight. So I guess what kills me more is the boxing movies more than the basketball movies. The basketball movies, as being a pro, when a guy releases his shot, and there's like you be like, ain't no way in the hell that's going in.
Ain't no way that's going in at all. Ain't no way. Swish. Like, I know if we put this guy on the court and tell him to touch the net, he's gonna miss by about this much. He ain't even go. I don't know why he's dunking.
Yeah.
I can tell it's a trampoline. Like, come on, man. Come on,
let me tell you
and what gets me, the speeches get me too. I'm like, come on, not the speeches, these rah-rah speeches. Like, come on, man. Listen, there's 4 quarters or 2 halves, depending on come on, man. We tell this dude to get back on D. Stop messing up.
Yeah.
You remember when we used to do that? I used to do the MTV games. And you remember before they had the celebrity game, and they lowered the rim that year, and you see P. Diddy going up and jumping on dunking on a 9-foot basket and being all serious, and these guys are playing, all these actors and rappers, and they're playing on a 9-foot rim, and they'll come in and like, I dropped 28, Jay. I had 18 rebounds.
NBA Jam numbers. No,
yeah, was that like Jock Jams, whatever that used to be back in the day, the MTV?
Then they had one NBA guy on there, Jesse, that, they have like, Reggie Miller or somebody play on their team, and they hit a couple of shots, and these guys will score on them, and they'd be like, yo, it's just like when I play in Rucker. I go play in Pro Rucker, I play in West 4th Street. A guy will get 1 basket on you, and the crowd will go, whoa, I told you should have been in the NBA. He could have been in the NBA. But meanwhile, we got no tape on him. I've never seen him play. He ain't never getting that shot off again.
Yeah.
I'd rather put on a wooden bib, go in the yard and pluck shit with the chickens before he get that shot off again.
I'll tell you, he ain't never. You'll get 1 shot. That's all you get. You know what I'm saying? You get 1. I'll even pat you on the butt for that one. Good job, but that's all you get.
Yeah, that's all you get. It doesn't quite count when I'm not in a defensive stance and just kind of out here chilling and letting you get the shot up. Yeah.
Right. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. I mean, there've been some time. Like, I've been challenged. I'll let people know. Hey, how you doing? My name's Nican, blah, blah. I meet other actors, we'll talk. I'm like, I used to play. They're like, I have to play sometime. And I'm like, hold on. Before you go any further, just know that I do this. So don't come out talking, not just, if you're going to do this, be serious, because I do this. Don't be joking around. Okay, continue. Like, nah.
You're like, I've earned that right.
I've earned that right. So we have to play sometime. Be ready.
UCLA.
Division 1 now. Yeah, man. Nah. Let's not. Don't come out here talking about. Let's go out and just work out. We ain't working out.
Who was your coach at UCLA?
2005, 2006. I spent my freshman year there. We had Jordan Farmar was on the team, Darren Collison, my brother Ryan Hollins, who's now a commentator for the Houston Rockets,
Yeah.
Cedric Boseman, Luke Kuchamba Mute, Alfred Aboya, Michael Rowe. I mean, we did Josh Shipp, Aaron Aflalo. And in that year, we lost to the University of Florida that year in the national championship, but what an experience. But yeah, Ben Howland was he was the guy who was kind of steering he was steering our ship that year.
Okay.
I think he stayed around for like 5 more, 6 more, maybe 7 more years, something like that. And then went to Mississippi State.
Yeah, he had a good long run at UCLA, and but
yeah,
he was known as an intense coach, though, right? What was that like?
Intense. he demanded a lot out of you, no matter who you were, no matter which. He demanded a lot out of you. He was able to pull all those teams together, together. I mean, Jay, which is kind of the conversation at the beginning with the Warriors and fights, in practice. That kind of stuff happens. We have that kind of stuff happen all the time in practice. We're going for something that we have wanted since we were kids.
Right.
And that is to shine on the biggest stages every single time we step out there. So I'm going to be damned if I'm going to let another guy come and take that spot. And sometimes that just boils over and you fight. I've broken up fights. Man, it's, I've had arguments both with coaches and with other players. It happens, right? It happens, Yeah, the public doesn't get a chance to see that. But there's definitely fist fight. It gets physical. We're bumping bodies all day for 3 hours every single day.
Right.
What do people expect to happen?
Right.
And then afterwards we go eat. Maybe not directly after that practice, but at some point in time we go eat, we go party. Like,
right.
It's a part of the initiation process. It's a part of the brotherhood.
Right.
Oh yeah. So like all the stuff that's with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, like that stuff happens. So our practices were hard, though. Our practices were very hard. The UC Berkeley, we had Mike Montgomery was our second coach, but we started off with Ben Braun. Ben Braun and then Mike Montgomery came back from coaching the Warriors. He came back went from Stanford Warriors, UCLA to Stanford Warriors, UC Berkeley to then coach us. So had some good coaches along the way.
Yeah, no question. And you were kind of talking about the Warriors. Obviously, you're up in the Bay. I know you're a Warriors guy. They obviously won the title last year, so congrats on that. But I'm just curious, what are your thoughts? What your thoughts are this year? Because like the NBA in general, Jay and I talked about it last week. Is kind of, especially the West. Everyone's so bunched up. Like no one's run away with it. The Warriors are obviously struggling so far this year. They're in like 12th place, and Steph Curry just got hurt. Like, are you worried, or are they just like they're gonna figure it out and get back into the
I feel like as a Warriors fans, I feel like, and everybody's different, but I'm just going to say Warriors fans, we're never worried because we remember the slim years. So any sort of success is success. We're not, how do I explain it? We're not Lakers fans to where we have the expectation every single game, every single year. We don't have expectations to win. We just do. Like that just is what it is, This year is going to be a bit tough. It's the young guys coming off the bench. The thing that we're missing is the veteran leadership coming off the bench. Veteran players coming off the bench that are plug and play guys. Last year I always forget Otto Porter coming off the bench last year. We've got guys last year that can plug and play. This year, it's getting ready for the next generation. So all the guys come off the bench from Wiseman. I'm just going to throw Poole in there just to say Poole, Moses Moody. These guys who are the next generation, Kuminga, these guys who are the next generation for the Warriors, they haven't had time because they haven't been with the Warriors long enough to learn how to play professionally, to learn the Warriors system, and just to really get valuable minutes to where it's like you can plug and play and keep the thing going. So this year it is going to be a bit tough. What we're seeing now is we don't want Steph to be hurt, right? But what we're seeing now is with Steph hurt, out for a couple of weeks, those guys are now getting minutes. James Wiseman got called up from G League, which is great, and now they're actually getting a chance to play in situations of which we will be in come postseason. So I think, and I think Steve Kerr is cognizant of that. I know that the media just hasn't had the time and the structure to be able to play, and especially play with champions and have champion expectation. After the All-Star break, I'm not worried. It's my take on it. They'll fall into place as they should, and they'll keep on rolling, hopefully.
I mean, yeah, if there's a team to not be worried about, they've obviously proven they can figure it out. So yeah, it makes sense.
Now, Nican, now that you're becoming a bona fide superstar in acting. Now, you remember when you first got to college, you get there and you're really quiet. You watching the older guys play, the juniors and the seniors. You're really not making a lot of noise. And when you first started acting, when you got on the set, you're watching everybody, and now, like we were talking about consulting earlier, now can you really look at a director or a producer and go, hey, man, you know what? I'm not doing it like that. I'm doing it my way. I'm ad-libbing. I'm not running that play this way. Because, I remember this. When I started with Chuck Daly, was one of my coaches with the Nets. And he came on, and he was a Hall of Fame coach. And he comes on, and I told him, say, hey, Chuck, after practice, I said, hey, man, we should do it this way and this way. He looked at me, and he was like, what? Who are you? What number you wear? He goes, look here, let me tell you something. I only take shit from my two superstars, and you're not one of them. He says, so don't even talk to me. So he was like a dictatorship right then. So I said, you know what? That's something I worked really hard. I got really good. They traded the guys in front of me. I became a superstar, and I said, Chuck, you got to go.
You got to go, dog.
Players don't get fired, coaches do. Chuck. He was a great guy, but now you got more confidence. So can you go over there and say, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Take that the way I just did it, and we're going to run with that. I've been on the set 16 hours. I got to get going.
Yeah.
Are you there yet?
Absolutely. I definitely am. And I think the only difference is between being on set and being in court. Court, you got to pay your dues. Right? Whole team of guys. You have your head coach. You got your GM. You get the president. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay your dues. You got to spend a few years going through the lumps to see how things are shaped and molded, so that you can go, here's what we should be doing. It's a little more personal. What you're doing is you're putting on this outfit. I know who this character is. I know what the storyline is. I know what my character story is. So in talking to the director, right, and this is where some of the creativity comes from, and in talking to the director, if they ask you to do something, you can absolutely go, well, have a little bit of pushback. Okay, well, this is what I think our character wants. So can we make sure that these are the moves and steps that I should be taking? Should I be turning to the light, or should I be turning away from the light? Right? Should I be talking to the person, or should I never look them in the eyes because of what I know my character to be? Right? So all that to say that yes, you can absolutely say that about your character. The difference is when it comes to technical stuff, because sometimes directors have you do things because it's not like a stage play, unless you know that the camera's too low, too high, necessarily what we want, because they're looking on the screen with a bigger picture in mind. So it's the same, because you definitely have your say, right? And you can also tell someone like, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. But if they see something on the screen and it works, my philosophy is, since this is your project and the screenwriter's project, if you think it works, and I've done my homework and given you my best, then I trust that. Now, if it don't work, we're gonna have some problems. But it's definitely, if you feel like you give them a better option, no matter your level, you can do that.
And you have to read your script. One of the things when I was trying to get into acting, I never did was read the whole script all the way through. Basketball, you watch the NFL, them guys come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, they have notes, they go over plays and stuff in a locker room or at a desk for like 5 hours, and then they go out and they practice for 5 hours. NBA guys, we come in like 20 minutes before practice, hour and a half, we're done. So I think that's the way
Yeah.
I was trying to do acting. I was going into acting going, okay, what's my character today? But you go in and you look at it and read the whole thing and go, this is where my actor's going to end up, my character at the end. So I got to evolve the way it is going instead of just being that person today. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right,
like
right.
We
No,
just,
yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. As an NBA schedule, some of the things we look at, like, all right, who's playing on Christmas Day? Who's playing opening day? When we're on the big screen with NBC, and the other thing is, when in the hell we getting to Miami?
That's it. Where the party cities at? Where the party cities at?
That's what they always talk about, right? It's like, the road trips where, like, if you're people who are into betting, where you're like, well, if you have a back-to-back in LA, you got 4 nights in LA, you're probably not going to do well in that second game in LA or Miami. If you like,
you definitely, doing your homework is exactly that. Is reading through the script top to bottom. There's some people that can kind of get to the half and be like, I know what the rest is about, but it's best to read it from top to bottom. Something that a friend of mine, Yahya Abdul Mateen, he's doing his thing now, but we grew up together in Oakland. I remember when I first jumped in and wanted to start taking this journey. I remember he gave me like a list of tips, a list of things that he had learned and had amassed over a certain amount of time in order to make his character stronger. And I remember he told me the things that you want to know is you want to know what the character wants. You want to know the obstacles that the character's going through and that's preventing them from getting these wants, and how the character tries again to achieve their wants. You want to know the time period of which the piece is in and the time period of who this person is, what this person likes and dislikes, because that will inform how you interact with others and how you interact with yourself. I've always kept those things. I still got the notebook at home, of which I remember I called him. I think he was on the set of The Get Down at the time. And I called him and I was okay. I was okay. All right. So I need to know what I like, I dislike. He was like, also think of wardrobe, because wardrobe, when you put yourself in that time, what you wear also kind of dictates how you move and how you interact with your surroundings. So I took all those things, and that right there is my playbook, right? That right there is my playbook. I'll know if there's a back screen coming, or I know if I need to flare, if there's a UCLA cut or something. Like that's if I need to curl here, if I need to pop and pick and like any of these things, like what are we running? That's my playbook right there. So all of that dictates how, just like you're prepared. When you go into the game, if somebody's trying to force you left, right, and you're right-handed, well, you know that you can get creative. You can get creative to get back to that right hand, right? You can step back. You could do so because you know the game, because you're preparing. You now have all these tools to call all these audibles and create on the fly so that you can get to the basket or shoot threes, which is what they're doing these days, I guess. So,
right.
Or passing up a layup to shoot a three, whatever it is, you have the tools because you've now prepared, so you can think on the fly, right? And so like in the beginning when I said that, like, acting and basketball, they're synonymous to me because it's the same sort of preparation and the same sort of freedom to think on the fly with your teammates, aka your acting partner or your scene partner, right? Yeah.
Any actor out there, right? Any actor out there that you look, I grew up wanting to be Julius Erving, Dr. J, Now you grew up wanting to probably be, you're younger than me, Michael Jordan or, the next generation. But now that you're acting, do you look back and go, or looking right now, since you're acting and going, you know what? This certain actor right here, we had Carl Umble on here, and he's a tremendous actor, and who are you looking at right now that going, you know what, I probably want to take a little bit of this, I want to learn this?
I think the person who I really enjoy watching right now is probably Jonathan Majors. He's in the new film Devotion. He's going to be Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think it's called Into the Quantum Verse. I think he's I think he's really good. I think he's
Yeah, he's
really
gonna
good.
be
I
Creed
also look at
3.
my friend
Yeah.
Yaya. Creed 3 is because speaking of boxing movies, Creed
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
I look at him and I think he's amazing. Um, I look at Yaya, I think he's amazing. Another friend of mine, his name is Sullivan Jones. He's also amazing. He was just in an episode of Atlanta, playing a major role in Atlanta. I like Brian Tyree Henry. There's so many young guys. I look at Carl Lumley, and I'm just like, I look at Courtney B. Vance,
Yeah.
Delroy Lindo, of course Denzel
Oh yeah.
Washington, but
Yeah.
I look at all these guys and I'm like, they're just so smooth, right? They really make me believe that what is going on is really going on, Um, there's so many. There's so many. So I'm taking little things here, taking little things there, and like, well, how do they get in that headspace? Or do they get in that headspace at all? Is it just something they just
Yeah.
walk on set and they're like, and they take the lead off of their scene partner and exchange that energy? Yeah, I sit and I dissect and I watch these guys. And I'm like, that's what I strive to be.
So I used to spend a lot of time with Penny Marshall, and the great, Laverne
Ooh,
and Shirley,
uh-huh.
but the great, she's
Yeah.
like an Oscar-nominated director. Her whole family, they run Hollywood. So I
Right.
spent a lot of time with her. She used to tell me all the time. She goes, "You know what, Jay? Movies are made of moments." And I used to go, "What does she mean by that?" And he goes, "Just a moment in a movie would make you watch the
Mm-hmm.
whole movie for that moment. That one line, like you was just talking about Marcus Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna watch it for that scene, then you would change it."
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same as in basketball. Like what ESPN did, the top 10 plays kind of changed the game of basketball and made it much more selfish
Yeah.
because you want to be on the top 10 plays. Like I remember I come in and have a great dunk.
Right.
But I only have like 8 points and like 8 rebounds. And then the next day, walking down the ramp to a game, and a kid would go, "Hey, nice game last night. That was a great dunk." And I'd be like, "This just guy being sarcastic." You know what I'm saying? Because the only thing he remembered was that one dunk. So I was like, man, but it's almost like you said, it's the same as made of moments, right? Basketball and acting, made of moments. Everybody wants to be in that top 10. I watch the worst movies for that one line.
Made of moments. It's fun. It's funny that you say that because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basketball is also about runs, right? You're gonna make a run. Another team is gonna make a run. How do you stop that run? What are you doing in the meantime while you ain't hot before you get hot, right? So that basketball is a game of runs and momentum, right? So Jay, you just said something that has made me think of in acting, making movies is about moments. We're breaking up a whole game into moments, which you can feel the momentum of the whole film. You can feel the run that you make, and you're doing it right. So with this the current film is coming out next year, Heist '88, doing a scene with Courtney B. Vance, Mr. C, as we call him. That's one day. Doing another scene with Mr. Keith David. That's one day. And all of those scenes they're little moments we put together that you have to stay in and stay focused and be prepared for because you can't lose your character. All of that makes up the entirety of our game, which is our movie. So she's right about that. And not only thinking about it from the moviegoer side, but thinking about it from, it's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I'm not as good as you were on this show, but I'm trying. I'm striving.
Hey, I can see it. I feel it. I know if I gave you a script right now, we would tear that thing up.
I was like, don't undersell yourself, Jay. You're killing it. You're crushing it.
Thank you.
Well, Nican, thank you so much for taking the time today. Obviously, I know you just mentioned Heist '88 is coming out next year. You've got a lot of great projects coming out.
Yep.
And as Jay said,
yes,
you're on the rise. So all those actors you named, there's going to be younger actors naming you very soon. So we appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us.
I got a shout out to I am a Warriors fan, but I'm wearing my boy Patrick Christopher. It's Sloan and Bennett is his company, and this is This is for Kobe and Gianni. So, or Gianni, excuse me.
That.
So yeah, this is a whole thing. So I had to make sure. That's the only time that I rep for the Lakers is because it's Kobe. But other than that,
I mean, we're on the same page with Kobe right here. You know, I also do not root for the Lakers. So, but Kobe obviously supersedes all that. So,
but you guys not asking me who I root for in the NBA.
Who you got, Jay?
Dallas Mavericks, man.
I kind of want to take
Mark Cuban.
Oh,
Mark Cuban. I love Mark Cuban.
Okay.
All the stuff he's done for players that not even playing for him. A humanitarian.
Like
I went from every other team. I'm St. John's University. I'm Dallas Maverick. Mark Cuban. That's my team.
Yeah.
I mean, you might need to tell your guy Mark they gotta make a few trades because they're struggling. But
hey, Jesse, don't talk bad about Mark Cuban on Dallas Maverick, Jesse. That's the only time me and you gonna fall out.
Hey,
I'm just saying that Luke is great. They need to get him some help. That's all. We beat y'all last
year. They do. They got to get him some help in ASAP. Please get him some help. The West is too tough, man. The West is too tough.
That's what it is. But yeah, we'll see how all our teams keeps doing. But Nican, thank you so much again for coming on the show, and we'll definitely chat again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. All right, love y'all too. I appreciate it. Thank you.